Hey there everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, and in today's video we're going to be doing a book review. So this is a Bookie Babe book review video, so welcome. And if you are new here, like I said, this is my Bookie Babe book review series where everything that I read, I jump on here and share a review of for you guys. And this month is really special because for March, I chose our book club's book for the month. So everybody in the book club who wanted to participate read my book, and I've gotten some really great feedback on the book, and I hope everybody enjoyed it. And so I'm going to talk about that book today in this channel, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this book or if you've read this book, and if I should do more reviews of books like this. So before I show you what the book is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how and why I picked it. So a couple of summers ago, you may remember that if you've been around on this channel for a while or have been following me on Instagram for a while, my sister-in-law and I went to Tennessee and Kentucky, and we found a half-price books outlet in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and my husband and I love half-price books, and my sister-in-law and I were probably in this store for like close to 3 hours. It wasn't even enough time. We barely even touched the movie and DVD collection when we were there. I got so many things on the clearance rack at the outlet store, so already the prices were lower, and up front they had an entire display of blind dates with a book. So the premise is they had a description on the front of the book, and it was all wrapped up, and you didn't know what the book was or what the cover looked like or anything. You truly had to base it on the description. And so I feel like I got two books. I don't remember what the second one was. I just know that this one was one of for sure. And so I knew, like, when I was trying to think of something for book club, you know, it's very hard to think of a book that everybody or a lot of people will like. And so I was trying to think of like something adult, something that might be for everybody. And in the past, we've picked some books with some mystery, some kind of suspense, and some magic elements. And so this one I thought would be a great one to share with the book club. It is an adult novel, but it is told from the perspective of a 10-year-old. It's called Every Bone a Prayer by Ashley Blooms. Now, this book might have received some, I don't want to say backlash, but it is kind of, it was trending on Goodreads. Like, I saw a lot of my close friends had read it on Goodreads, and I think it's kind of getting a little bit more popular, and part of the reason of that is that it does have a trigger warning, in that it does depict child sexual abuse, and the author writes a foreword in the beginning. So if that's something that is triggering for you, I would recommend that you pick up the book either at your library or pick it up off the shelf at a bookstore. Read this word from the author first to kind of decide if you want to dive in deeper or not. I have written a full review on my Goodreads, which is at Kayla McClure. So if you are watching this video and you have Goodreads, you can go check me out over there and read a more detailed review. Here in the YouTube channel, I try and keep it light, no spoilers, just kind of give my overall feel for the book and what I rated it. And the premise of this is it is set in the Appalachian area. So we're thinking like, you know, lower Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky area, in that Appalachian Trail area. And Misty lives there with her sister and her mom for the majority of the novel, and she is 10. Her older sister is Penny, and Penny is supposed to be a couple years older than her, 12, 13-ish, and then their mom, and they live in a trailer park in the Appalachian Trail. And one of the biggest elements of this book is very descriptive storytelling about where they live. So describing the forest, describing the creek, describing how they get to school, all of that. And as somebody who grew up in a very small town in Ohio, right along that Appalachian area, like, I was picturing kind of my hometown when I was reading it. So if you are from a small Appalachian town, this is a book that you will resonate with. I've spoke a little bit about this before because it has come up in some of the other videos, but also as a survivor of child sexual abuse, I felt like this book does a very nice job of narrating the feelings and the shame and the guilt that kind of survivors work through. And so I went into it knowing the contents of the book. I did read the word from the author, and I still chose to read it. And I'm glad I did, because I feel like it was a very true and realistic description of the healing process, the trauma process, and how trauma affects the body. And so for that perspective, I really, really enjoyed it. I gave this book, if Goodreads had half, it would be a 4.5. So on Storygraph, I did give it a 4.5, but on Goodreads, I did err on the side of the 4. I would say it's probably a 7 out of 10, simply because it does have that sensitive content, but also there is a lot of supernatural magic stuff in it, which a little bit of that is fine, but there were parts of it that I just have a really hard time wrapping my, like, I know it's fiction, I know it's not supposed to be real, but at the same time, like, there was so much of this that was so relevant to me in my own life, and then the thought of the supernatural pieces of it occurring just were just like, like, I've been struggling with these, like, fiction books that present as real life and, like, depict events that could actually happen, and then there's, like, this supernatural element thrown in. It just kind of throws me for a loop. But I do feel like the storytelling, the description of the setting, the character development, describing Penny and Misty's relationship, like, all of that was done very well. And the story of the abuse is told very sensitively and very gracefully and very tactfully. I will say, like, it's explicit, but it's not graphic, if that makes sense. Like, it's very clear what's happening, especially at the end of the novel. You kind of are like, oh, okay. But it's also very reserved in that you are hearing Misty's perspective, so you're in her mind when it's happening and what she's thinking of, and so it does not give the power to the abuser, which is nice. But yeah, this book was very, despite the heavy content matter, it was, like, very chill. Like, I almost felt very serene when reading it. Like, she describes, like, bird song and the waters of the creeks and the crawdads, and, like, there was a part of it that was so serene and, like, so relaxing, despite it having this heavy subject matter. And when I picked the book, I told the book club, like, I know this book might not be for everybody. However, this is why I chose it, because it was a blind date with a book. I want to give it a try, so I thought it would be fun to do it together. And a lot of the other women in the book club are like, yeah, I really liked it. Like, it was something unexpected. There were a lot of things that I liked about it. There were things that I didn't like about it. But I think that's with every book. And overall, like, I was happy with how the story ended. I think it came to a great conclusion. I really, really enjoyed the last 20 pages. And honestly, the last 20 pages put it into the 4-star category for me. If it were not for those last 20 pages, this probably would have been a 3-star book for me. So the last 20 pages and the epilogue really pushed it over the edge for me. I really loved the epilogue, and I really, really liked how the story kind of all wrapped up. So I went out on a limb, tried something new. This is considered a contemporary book. It is also considered a little bit mystery, but also, like, magic. It's described as magical realism on Storygraphs, but it's definitely a contemporary novel. I believe this is Ashley Bloom's first novel, but if you're looking for something, like, kind of chill, like, it has some elements of thriller, a little bit spooky, but also, like, very, like I said, it's very serene, like, picturing the forests and the woods and the mountains of the Appalachian, like, it is very serene, and, like I said in my Goodreads review, like, it was a 4-star book, but, like, a very chill, relaxing 4-star book, not like, oh my gosh, my heart is pounding. Like, it was just very, like, it was easy to pick up, easy to keep going when you had to leave off. It did hit a little bit of a lull in the middle, which is another reason why it's not 5 stars for me, because I would say a little, like, I was probably about here, and it got a little slow, and then it definitely picked up like within the last 100 pages. So it did kind of like, it was steady up, and then it dipped down and came back up. So the middle was a little slow, but other than that, I'm really, really happy that I read it. I thought this was a very pleasant reading experience. Obviously, like I said, there were some things that I didn't love about it. You can read more about that in my Goodreads review. And if you have read this book, comment below. Let me know your thoughts, because this is a newer book, like I said. And it's a book that's kind of getting a lot of attention, I feel like, lately, especially on Goodreads. I've been seeing a lot of people, like, adding it to their lists and things. So if you have read it, let me know. And it might not even be that new of a book. I don't even know, because I've got it in a blind date. So actually, we can find out, can't we? Let's see. Let's do it together. We're going to find out. It was written 2020. So it is. It is a newer book. Only 4 years old. So it is a newer book. So, and I think it's going to get a lot more attention. I hope it gets a lot more attention. I saw a mix of reviews. Some people really, really liked it. Some people really, really did not like it. It's getting about a 3.5 to a 3.8 star rating, which is not bad. And out of my 10-point scale, you know, that's like a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. So, it's a lot of the reviews are very similar to what I said. So I think most of the reviews overall are positive. Again, the word from the author at the beginning really lets you know what you're getting into, and you can make that decision for yourself if you think it's a good reading opportunity or not. In other news, this was book number 9 for the year. So if you are new here, I'm trying to read 24 books in 2024. We are almost 1/3 of the way through 2024. We are going to be at the end of March before we know it. And I have read 9 books, which is pretty exciting for me. I'm like, you know, almost halfway to my goal. I'm really hoping to have 12 books done by the time we get to halfway point in the year. So I've got 3 more to go, which, if I read 1 every month for the next three months, then I'll have met my goal there too. So, next book club book was just announced, so I'm going to get that one. I just picked out the book that I'm going to read in between. So we're cruising right along with 2024, and honestly, this one was much needed for me. Because the first couple of books that I read in 2024, they just were not hitting the mark. And I read Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls. That one really delivered. I really enjoyed that one. This one was a completely different novel from that, but it still like hit the mark of an enjoyable read. So despite it not getting 5 stars, it is up there with the best, like one of the best books that I've read this year. And it could... I don't know if I would say it's my favorite, because the second Holly Jackson book is still my favorite, but it definitely has surpassed many of the other books that I've read. So like I said, despite it not having 5 stars, I still would I'm not a person who could read a book again, but I feel like this is one that I would be inclined to read again, because it was such like a serene, almost healing process for me to read this, and just so relaxed. Like I was so relaxed when reading it. So yeah, that's my review of Every Bone a Prayer by Ashley Blooms. Like I said, a newer book released in 2020. Go check it out for yourself. I'm sure you can find it wherever books are sold, especially on Amazon. I know you can find it there. That was a little shameless plug there. But I say check it out, like I said, or just pick it up off your library shelf, read the word from the author, and then decide for yourself. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. And probably next week, I'm hoping to go through all of the books that I've ever rated 5 stars, and we're going to rank them against each other. It should be super fun. So I hope you come back and check that video out. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.